Hello and welcome to Creative Juice without Pulp. I'm your host Elliot and you're watching the series Adelaide Creatives. In this episode I interview Leesa. She's the general manager for an advertising agency in Adelaide. In the interview we talk about, what's it like to work in an agency. We talk about what does the general manager do at an advertising agency. And she gives amazing advice and insights for young creatives looking to understand how the industry actually works. So please hit the like and subscribe so I know to keep making more of these. Let's start the interview. Hello, Leesa, and welcome to Adelaide Creatives. Thank you so much for being on the show. So this interview that I'm doing is aimed at young creatives in Adelaide, just to get an understanding of advertising agencies. So before we get to the questions about being general manager for them advertising, would you mind explaining to everyone who them is?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Elliot, for asking me. I think it's wonderful what you're doing for these young creatives. Good on you. Yes, so the general manager for them, and who are we? I say them is what we call a 360-degree agency. We're a full service, solid advertising and digital agency that's been around forever, well over 35 years. We're well known. It involves the managing director, Mark Whiteman, who's got the major ownership, and then he invited a few other directors on board who are staff members.
What does a general manager do at an advertising agency?
Stress. No, it's a nice, responsible job. I'm responsible for the operations of the company. Yes, yep. I do take on the stress. So I try and make sure no one else has to worry about it. Mark and I probably do that well together. I spend a lot of time on admin. I'm responsible for the profitability of the company.
Yes.
I am so meticulous that I like to see almost every invoice that goes out. Not that I micromanage, it just gives me an opportunity to know what the clients are doing, what they're purchasing, and it just gives me a really good understanding on what's going on in the agency. So I sort of take time to review our sales.
Yeah, beautiful. So on the opposite of stress, what's your favorite part about your job?
It's probably not so much the day-to-day. I love the negotiating side when we're looking at purchasing a new business.
Yes.
Mark and myself will prepare the proposals together. I just love the opportunity of probably the merging side of, for buying another agency.
Yes.
Their new clients that bring on board and the new talent. So it's that's the exciting part of my job.
So the purchasing of agencies, how often is this how often does that happen? Is there
I think over the time Mark has been with them, I'm a little bit behind him. We probably bought 10.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
And are there smaller ones that you bring on and then try to grow the company as a whole, or how does the...
Yes, and it's a bit like, you're buying the clients, some stay, some go, some employees stay, some go. So over a period of time, I guess that's what's built them in itself.
Okay, I didn't know that. Very cool. So for preparation for this, I looked up online the responsibilities of general managers at agencies specifically, and I was wondering if you could provide some insights on the things that I found online. It said that the GM works on the objective of the company, and you've worked also at Hybrid and Kojo. So I was just wondering, do you find that agencies have different objectives, or do you find the Adelaide-based one all have, very similar objectives, or how do you find that difference?
No, I really believe every agency has a completely different objective. Starting with Kojo, I was very privileged to work at Kojo. We started off with camera hire and a little bit of TV commercial, but mainly hired out as camera people, cinematography. So it was more the photography and filming more so than the editing and production side. And that has grown. Like, that's just an amazing story now. We started as 4. I was really fortunate to be at the beginning of their successful journey. Now they've got offices all over Australia and staff far bigger than 4, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So they started with a completely different objective. Hybrid was a very creative agency, so they look for the high-end creative side.
Yes.
Whereas our objectives are completely different again. We like to think we're an agency of choice. We have we like to think all our facilities are under the one roof, and we like to control the client's brand. So the journey that it goes on, we're controlling it right to the end, to the media buy.
Yeah.
That's our objective. Yeah. So they're all very, very different.
Do you find that most of them have the goal to grow, or do you think some, try to keep it at a certain amount of staff, and because they like an office or they like their amount, or?
I can't. Kojo is actually, that's a true growth story. But as I was there from the beginning, we didn't really have that type of growth. It grows by supply and demand, I think. But with them, yes, we always look for growth, but keeping it always in mind that our current clients always come first, and that they're not affected.
Yeah. So another statement that I read was the general manager needs to watch every expense, be keenly aware of financials, and constantly look for new revenue. You talked about this when describing your role. So how big of a part is this in your role as GM? And how does the agency's financials impact your, to-do list on a weekly basis?
Advertising is a roller coaster ride. You have amazing highs, and then you have your lows. So the journey is so much fun. Challenging. Financials speak for themselves. I think if the cash flow is not there, you need to work hard. If it's a great month, there's positives to it too. You're sort of always looking ahead, how you can invest or what your next hurdles may be. You've always to save for that rainy day. And I am constantly looking at new revenue. I always look for the point of difference.
Yes. So when looking for new revenue, that's new businesses to work with, or maybe new businesses you're already working with and finding new.
Yes, and also our skill level. You might employ. I think digital is a great one. You can always grow within that. You're employing analysts. You get someone smarter. Then you can grow that sort of side of things. So then that's another form of income. Your website audits. You've got a brand new web developer who's very high end and skilled. So I kind of look under our own umbrella first.
Yes.
And think, how can we grow this area, and what more expertise do we need?
I also read that the GM needs to be good at networking. Do you have any tips for young creatives on networking in Adelaide specifically, or just in Australia in general?
Networking can come easily. Just be nice. I just think compliment, and always on an interesting item to talk about the person you're engaging. I think it's just even practice it when you're out socially. I also think to practice good networking and social skills if you're involved in a club. Aim for presidency or secretary, or become involved like that. And once you're head of a club, it forces you to have to go and greet people, to interact with them, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone. So I think, that will help. It helps you grow as a person in general, both work and play.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Yeah, but be nice. Always be nice. Always compliment.
Of course. So a big part of your role is also keeping the staff motivated. Do you have any tips or main takeaways that you've learned over the years on motivation?
I love motivation. I'm a big fan of it. I love my sport, and I love to motivate people in general, whether it's work or play. I like to encourage them to really believe in themselves that they can do it. I get quite passionate about that if they're trying to run around the block or if they're trying to illustrate something at work and they're not quite sure. I prefer them to have a go and fail. No one, sets out to fail, and I always believe that you learn from it. So I'm a big motivator and a big believer that they've got to believe in themselves. Actually, it's coincidental. August is our goals month for the agency. So we have an agency goals board on Google Docs and also displayed out in the kitchen. So I write weekly emails to help them achieve their goal, to motivate them to understand how to set a goal. And by putting it out in the kitchen, it makes us all accountable. So the idea is to help every other team member support each other and get to the end result. So to enjoy the journey, but to achieve it.
And you spoke about setting a good goal. What do you believe classifies as a good goal?
A good goal is something that is challenging yourself, but it's not unrealistic. That you can achieve it. I encourage them to write it down, to check in, and to achieve the end result, but make sure it's a feel good. To be able to pat yourself on the back and feel proud. You're only competing in yourself, and I believe that's a good goal.
Yeah, great.
That you enjoy the end result and you enjoy the journey along the way. It's not always good fun too. You have setbacks, but that's part of the challenge. And I think you've got to have those setbacks and hard work to get the emotional high at the end. There's nothing better than that. It's a win.
Yeah. No, awesome. You plan, lead, and direct the general operations of Them Advertising with the managing director, who you talked about before. So how do you do this then? What's your process together? Do you sit down every week or every morning, or what's the process?
Mark and I had a very strong team. We do everything together. I have so much trust with this incredible businessman. I see him as a great mentor as well. Mark's just a little bit older than me. You don't like me saying that, but so he's had a bit more experience again. But we always have each other's back. Mark will CC me in on everything or let me know exactly what he's doing and vice versa. So we're both across the business and no one's ever kept in the dark. And I think that's the golden rule, just to keep the communication open and to have that open respect and trust.
Great.
So I'm very fortunate. Very lucky to have such a wonderful MD to work alongside with. And we make honest decisions together, and sometimes if we can't agree, not that we disagree, but if we can't find the solution, we will regroup and nut it out until we both feel comfortable with the end result. So we don't take it is worked out well.
No, awesome. You're also part of the recruiting and the training of new employees. Do you think that it's easier? I've asked actually a few others that I interviewed. Do you think it's easier for young creatives trying to get into ad agencies to have one skill that they're really outstanding in, say maybe graphic design or copywriting? Or do you think it's easier for a young creative to get into an ad agency if they have like a really broad set of creative skills?
I think that they've got to be passionate about what their main skill is and believe that they are good at it. I'd like them to show me how they're confident. But I also believe it's good to have that character to be diverse and to be hands-on and accept to maybe take a side step before going forward and not be precious.
So this kind of leads into my next question with persistence and passion, but what would you say are the three most important personality traits that you look for in a creative when looking to the hire?
Yes, I'd say number one, personality. Present yourself well. I think a good personality can go a long way That's what Richard Branson would say. And you can convert, but I think if you've got a good personality and a good attitude, good work ethic, like a can do, that's a big tick in my eyes. As I said, a good work ethic, someone who's keen to start from the bottom and work their way up, not precious. And to believe in your own talent, like I said, believe in your own skill level, show us how good you are, and but be adaptable. I suggest a good understanding of the agency. And, as I said, don't be afraid to ask. So I think if you have those three skills, personality, good work ethic, and believe in your own talent, you'll succeed.
What do you do at them to inspire staff to be creative?
Well, I'm not the head of creative. You employ good people around you. So we have quite an awesome team out the back. We have creative director, head of studio. We've got lots of very, very talented people out there. But what I would probably say to the young as a leader, and I believe this, I would say advertising, you think about it 24/7.
Yes.
I mean, I think about it when I'm driving home down Anzac Highway. I will see a billboard and think that would be good for such and such client, that space, or I would be behind a bus and go, oh, such and such is advertising. Oh, that's a bad ad, or that's bad colour, or that's a good ad. And then whilst you're doing that, then someone will be on the radio doing an ad, then think, oh, our competition's on air. So you are constantly thinking about it and constantly aware. So be aware of your own surroundings. And I think if, our team leaders outside are doing that as well, it helps, sort of bring in, I saw a great ad, or it's inspiration, it's keeping up with what's going on.
No, great.
Advertising everywhere. And we do think about it, I think, 24/7 subconsciously.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So just a few questions about your clients and how you get them and all of that. How do you find clients that fit your agency? Do they come to you? Or do you, how does that process work?
That's a really good question. We just don't take any client, and they have to be a good fit. And I think that's important. It's a bit like recruiting. You've got to have a good team, but you've got to be able to relate and communicate well with your client. And it's a two-way street. They expect stuff from us, but we expect feedback as well back. And you need a good working relationship. We have long-term clients, and there's been quite a number of times when we've started pitching and think, no, this isn't working, this isn't good, or this isn't the right time. And they're really tough calls, but they're powerful calls. And I think that what makes a good business, it's a business call.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yes, it's very important to have the right fit. Now, you'd say, well, what's the right fit for them? Someone that's not looking at a really high-end creative, award-winning TVC, for an example. I mean, we can produce it, but we would sort of say that's not really our cup of tea. We're more, I guess, broader, more the middle range, but we've got the ability to service you from the beginning to the end. So, our client might go to a high-end creative just for an idea, but not necessarily roll it out. It's all different reasons. We mightn't take on a client because their budget might be too low. We'll always take one that's too high. But so there's lots and lots of different reasons. They just have to be the right fit. They have to have their own personality.
In your role as GM, how much do you deal with existing clients, and how much do you deal with trying to attract new clients?
I would say account service take over with the clients in general. That's their role. But Mark and I would always be there at the very beginning, the introduction of new business. That's very important. and I guess keeping in touch, checking in until they're on their journey and they're handed over to very good people in account service. And yes,
Yeah,
don't
cool.
have to worry. But you still keep in absolute contact, and we like to, we like our clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
How many clients does an agency your size need, to be healthy and running well? And
I always think I call it a bread and butter client. You need a few bread and butter clients, which is like a retail client that you're having that constant weekly movement,
yeah.
which keeps up the cash flow. Then
And
we have clients.
is that with a retainer, or is that
A
per project?
retainer's good, or it might be an example. We've got Eagers Automotive, a car sales, so there's constantly something happening. So I guess, yes, you call it a retail client. You can have, yes, another type of client with the retainer, which is just, general, there's always work going on. And then you have your big clients they're seasonal. So, and that helps complete the agency too, because it keeps the workflow turning away, peaks and troughs, to try and keep it smooth rather than crazy, nothing going on.
Yes.
So, yeah, seasonal is good.
So with seasonal, how do you deal with the influx of workload? Is that through getting more
Freelancers,
freelancers, or is
yes,
it through
and
pre-planning?
we can read it. Come October, everyone goes crazy. October, November, December.
Yeah.
And you're up for it. So,
Yeah.
I guess we've had our clients for such a long time as well that we know pretty much the expectations. But yes, we love freelancers, and we've got some beautiful freelancers on our board. So it's good.
Yeah, awesome. So them work with strategy, branding, design, digital, TV, radio, media production, and account service. So this is a lot of services, obviously. How do you keep up with everything that's happening with your offerings and services when talking to clients or talking to staff?
I guess when you're coming back to saying what's a good client that fits, it's a client that it needs all those services.
Okay.
So not necessarily, but a lot of our clients do come to us as agency of choice to have all those facilities under the one roof. We have, as I explained in the beginning, we've got, various departments set up with traditional media has come a long way with this. We've got our media, head of media, we've got a media side of things, which has been strong. We're fully accredited, so we know that inside out. So, we've got the right people to run the various departments. So that's how we keep up. And it's always, digital is an amazing journey at the moment. There's always something new. But there's the young creatives that are coming up, young gurus, the digital gurus that know it all. And I tell you what, you employ them.
Yeah.
They tell us. So no, it's you just got to be on the ball. You just got to be out there, and you have a good team. It's your team that does it. No one can do it on their own.
Well, that's a great segue to my next question about culture. Culture is obviously very important at an ad agency. So how do you as the GM build a good culture? And then what do you believe is a good work culture?
Culture is very big in my eyes. I guess when I was first appointed to be general manager, I didn't think I had the skill set to do it. So I went back to study, and I studied culture and leadership. And I'm very passionate about it. I believe what goes on the inside, the client can see what's going on the outside. So if you don't have a good culture within, there's leaks. And I believe if you're running smoothly inside, it just absolutely shows that we're in control and we're happy and we love what we do. I try and keep control of culture. I'll walk around the agency and I can tell you, I can feel the vibe, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's tense, whether it's happy, whether it's busy, whether there's a problem. No one has to say anything. I can feel it. So we work hard on our culture. We try and have lots of interactions. We have a social side of things called them play. I think culture is a very big important role in any business.
No, awesome.
And it needs to be worked on constantly. You can never let it go.
Absolutely. So I watched your panel talk at She Creates and thought it was really good. I've got this quote where you said, if you've got an idea, bring it forward, where you were talking about how everyone feels like they can speak up and feel comfortable to share their ideas. I love this, and it's super important. And I was just wondering, what do you do to ensure that everyone feels empowered and confident to pitch their ideas?
Well, actually, firstly, in saying that, thank you for the compliment. Look, I'm so proud of the girls that She Creates. I think Tracy Davidson, Taylor Martin, Jess Bradley, who often freelances with us, they've just taken the time to inspire so many young creatives, females in the advertising world. Look, it's absolutely brilliant. I take my hat off to their passion and the endless time that they're spending to develop She Creates. So it's wonderful for Adelaide. So back to the question. Yes, my line is normally bring your idea to the table. I always say bring anything to the table. If you've got a problem, bring it to the table. But I do encourage ideas. I feel like, once again, we're team them. I we call it show and tell on a Wednesday night at the end of each month, which is an opportunity to show current work that's gone on in the agency. I'll quite often ask a newbie, they think I'm mean, but if they've been involved in a piece of work, I'll get them to talk about it.
Okay.
The reason behind that, it gives them opportunity to feel part of that work, so it's empowering for them, and it gives them an opportunity to speak in a group. So they'll be nervous at the start, but it's amazing how you watch their journey and how they grow. So by these show and tells, by the young people learning how to present and talk about their work and their journey and the experience and the ups and downs during that campaign, but it also gives an opportunity at show and tell to bring things to the table. If there's ideas or if there's a problem, it allows everyone to speak. But if there's a really big new business, or we often will get everyone in the boardroom, or they're walking past in the studio, the creative will be like, hey, what do you think about this? And they really value everyone's input. And we've always encouraged, if you've got an idea, you bring it to the table. And that's the same if you're driving down, as I call it, Anzac Highway, and you have a thought for a client, as I encourage you to, think it 24/7, bring it to the table. So we always have that Wednesday, once a month, that brings an opportunity for anyone to speak up.
I love that. And you said that if someone thinks of an ad idea for an existing client, do you often have them pitching to existing clients with ideas and saying maybe this is a project you would like to do, or do they often come to you saying we want to do this? What's the balance there?
Well, it's good to be proactive with existing clients. We're always proactive, but we are proactive sometimes to a new business as well. And we respect their brief and their ideas too. Clients always right, but we'll probably suggest, and we work through it. But yeah, mainly our ideas are proactive.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So last question.
Your ideas come off from a brief, I guess, naturally.
Yeah. Actually, I don't really have a question about briefs, but I would love to talk about them. Do you first see the brief, or how does the for big and small briefs, how does that work for an agency? Someone like me, a young creative, wouldn't really understand. Is there a line management situation that happens
Process,
with briefs, or
yes.
how does
So
that all work?
I guess to give you a little understanding, that would start off with new business as an example, would be met by Mark and myself. They'll give us an indication of what they're thinking, what their direction is, where they're seeing their business. To cut that question sort of a bit shorter, I guess it chips away and we eventually go down, they've got the client on board, then it's introduced to head of our account service.
Yep.
They will take the briefs and roll it out and delegate where need be. So our account service have that really important role of taking the brief and delegating the work.
Awesome. Cool.
And responsible for the deadline.
Yes. So the last question that I have is, for someone looking to be the general manager at an agency or to work in anything really at an ad agency, what's your biggest piece of advice, and any motivational quotes you want to sign off on as well?
Never give up.
Never give up.
You see that everywhere. Never give up. Back yourself. I think that's a really strong point, and that's what Mark said to me the day that he made me general manager. I said, I think I might have said, I didn't see it coming. It was an amazing experience when he offered me the job, and I said, "Oh, really? You think me?" And he said, "Yes, and back yourself." Now, always remember, back yourself. And I guess another amazing, and I spoke about this at She Creates, and it's a really strong, it's a strong motivational thing that I've shared many a times, and a lot of employers have left and said, "I'll never forget you saying this." Scott Hicks, which you would know, is one of Adelaide's famous film directors here in Adelaide. He had an assistant come over. This is when I was working at Kojo, and I was offered to work at Amy Stadium, the football, and it was like live television. And it was all under the Kojo umbrella. And I thought, "Oh God, I can't do that." And the producer of this film was sitting beside me. And she said, "God, woman, never let fear get in the way of anything." And I was young then, I was very young. And I never forgot it. And I think that's really strong. So if you want to do something, but you're fearful of it, don't let fear get in the way. Never stop learning. As I said, believe in yourself, put yourself out there in the universe. Sometimes you have to take a side step before you can go forward. Always respect that. Think about your journey. Sometimes you might have to take a cut in pay to achieve your next step, but it's worth the reward.
That's some great advice.
Yeah. And I guess that word, persistence. Yeah, keep at it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on Adelaide Creatives. I really appreciate it. You were really honest and just open about everything, which is great. Thanks so much for being on. You had some great insights, and it was great.
I really want to thank you, Elliot. I must say, once again, it's my pleasure to join Adelaide Creatives. You know the understanding of motivation. I think you've got the passion and the persistence. You will do well in the industry. I have no doubt about that, and I wish you all the best. So keep up the good work. Adelaide Creatives it's a great gig, and you're really helping those young creatives. Good work.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Adelaide Creatives. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the episode, then please hit the like and subscribe so I know to keep making more of these. Thanks so much for watching. I just finished editing it and I'm really happy with it. I thought it was great. Leesa, thank you. You did a great job. And if you like this, then maybe send it to another Adelaide creative to help inspire them, and they can learn a thing or two from these industry geniuses. And tune into the next episode. I'll see you soon.